Okay, here we are. Yeah, well, I'm going to toast you with a Dunkin' Donuts because
This is just some milk,
Joe
just
Tacopina said, no, Dunkin' Donuts is open at 11. The prosecutor had was their 16th objection because that wasn't the evidence. But we know from Kat Not Williams, who hopefully will be on our show at some point tomorrow after we have a verdict, because I assume we'll have a verdict tomorrow.
yeah.
We'll tell you there was no Dunkin' Donuts open at that time during COVID at 11 o'clock at night. And those
Yeah.
jurors know it, okay?
And
Whether
it
it was
was that was an
proven or not.
objection. That objection was sustained.
Yeah, so that we're up to 16 objections. I count 5 I've been sustained. All right, now I had 17 in my over under. We're getting close because I think Tacopino has to finish tomorrow with 21 more objection. I'm not
Oh,
sure that's
definitely.
going to
There'll be at
happen.
least one more.
Yeah. At least, well, if they want more, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. And also, let's have your thoughts. I'm about to tweet that I thought that this was boom when he showed the portions of the prop gun, just like Lou Levin explained, and you can see the plastic sticking out, right?
Yep, the extension to the magazine and then the clip.
Right.
Yep.
As I'm doing that, Michael, talk about your thoughts. I'm going to tweet out to my personal, and then it'll be retweeted to Justice Serve Extension to magazine.
One of the things he talked about that I forgot, there were all these bigger moments that I thought I remembered with Relly. Remember, he had testified about definitely never been to the range, right? And then he had the video.
Right.
Then he goes, everybody goes home for the weekend, and he comes back on Monday and he says, this was on redirect. Did you need to clear something up? Pauly P asks him. He said, yeah, I looked at my Instagram account, over the weekend, and sure enough, that gun range was in Los Angeles. Whoops, my bad. So nothing looks worse than a witness, first of all, testifying as adamantly as he did,
right,
and then having to come back and correct himself because he's been caught in a lie.
Yeah. Missy, do we also have our new poll that we had about whether you believe the prosecution team suborned perjury? Because the judge, when we came back from that break, said, okay, I didn't hear what you're complaining about, Mr. Lowen, right? But don't use the word perjury and the prosecution team or lawyer in the same, Domino's agreeing, in the same,
don't use that phrase to they'll do anything to win. They'll win at all costs. Don't do that again.
Yeah, don't do that again. No, although I'm not going to say anything that she really did it because the court reporter looked and she couldn't really find it, and just in case she did, just in case.
And perjury, the word perjury was found, but not suborning perjury, which Missy was nice enough to do the definition for everybody there in the chat. And it does mean basically encouraging somebody to lie that you know is lying under oath. So he didn't find that. And just as a technical note, I think I told you back in the day, court reporters, shorthand reporters, they didn't have real-time translation. So they'd have to go back through the papers, reading their weird little, characters to find that moment. And what's FPLT mean? FPLT, period. Remember
the end.
That means period. That's what they hit their little machine.
FPLT.
Okay. So now with real-time transcription, she could just do a word search on her. And she did. And she found perjury references, but not suborning perjury.
Suborning perjury, not the prosecution suborning. Although we have said that, look, if indeed they know, there's a fine line in the law between, well, if you know and you let somebody get on the stand. You and I, I dropped something down here. I'm not leaving you off. If we let a client get on the stand and lie, we're going to lose our license because we are suborning perjury. I'm sorry. All right. Yeah. So you got to take action to stop it. I know, Missy, it's like someone said, well, if it's just a blind eye, it may not be. But then again, it may be, because it depends on who you are, I think. I think if you're a lawyer with a license and a duty, I really think if you're a lawyer with license and duty and you
I'll throw them a bone. I'll throw them a bone and give them this possible interpretation. We know that the investigation on this case was crap. It was horrible. They clearly didn't talk to people that they should have talked to, including Relly. So he gets on the stand and starts spinning his yarn, and it's as fresh to the prosecution as it is everybody else. That's a possibility.
Yeah. That's
I'm throwing it out there. Oh, one other thing they talked about I thought was interesting was Lydia.
Yes.
Lydia. Joe talked about Lydia. What happened to Lydia? And then he said, I'm surprised this wasn't objected to. Lydia Parker, that was, and apparently still is, Relly's girlfriend. I guess she's busy doing what she does. Now, remember, there's some evidence that and this was not presented to the jury, that she's an escort or exotic dancer or something in that trade. And there was that picture that was offered almost, and then seen in camera by the court, and they said, no, you're not putting that up there. We can assume it was just a risque picture of girlfriend Lydia Parker, who just didn't show up. And that takes us back to that same part of the case where Relly was either there at 11:11. This is an hour after it happened. He's either there to get the casings in at 11:11, or he's not, depending on which story you believe. Relly said he was there an hour later, and then he later said he wasn't because that wasn't him on the video. So,
Joe's been going for the afternoon. And you said, well, you don't need 3 or 4 hours. Actually, I think he did. I think that we're riveted on the recitation of testimony. As a matter of fact, I couldn't believe when they came back from the break, I said, we only have another 45 minutes. I want to hear the whole thing. I want to hear the end,
I stand by what I said. You don't need it. Now, does that mean it's not entertaining? No, of course. It's all about the presentation. You don't need it. I've seen a couple of posts too saying, all right, already, enough. And I agree with them 100%. You're buddies with him, so you're jaded. You're biased. You have bias.
I am biased. I'm biased for good lawyering. I'm biased for actually letting the jury hear what they should hear. I'm biased for not putting a witness on that seeks $30 million in to get a bag, but you got to do a lawyer. You got to use a lawyer.
He injured his knuckle. That's a lot of money.
That's
So
that's
$10 million per knuckle.
And I'm biased for treating people with a little bit of dignity on the stand when they come and testify. They come in, they don't want to be there. They didn't do anything but be around, right?
Of course, nobody wants to be in there.
And they get treated like they're mafia rats. Actually, they get treated worse than mafia rats, because at least mafia rats, we know, may have some issues, right? In case you haven't looked at The Godfather. A great movie from way back when.
Godfather 2, one of the few cases in which the sequel was perhaps better than the original.
The sequel was great, but I also like The Horseman's Head. Okay.
That was good.
So I know, Crystal, I know there's no black bag coming here in New York. They come in a white bag. And then if you get the food, it may come in that brownish recycled paper bag if they've cooked something. But other than that, the boxes are white with pink. It's like, well, this is not a Dunkin' Donuts. This is kind of like, this has got pink on it, right?
Their normal bag looks like a sandwich bag in that size and shape, and most people get donuts in them.
Yeah.
So. And I saw somebody post that they had done an unofficial survey of LA Dunkin' Donuts, and they close it. I think it was something like 8:00, and then
right. It was Cat when she lived there. She said it was not, and I reposted. She said it was not. But sometimes in trial court, when you have custodian records, especially when you have a day that's going to be off in the middle. You've got to make a judgment, and I think there was a judgment made by the defense. I mean, certainly this would be my judgment, so that's why I'm imposing it, my judgment on them, I guess, that you have to get this case to the jury before the weekend so they can go home. I don't know if John Lewin will agree tomorrow, because he's going to have the last word, and the judge didn't impose limits, so.
Yeah, and I think, and I said this before about the Dunkin' Donuts thing, if the jury was struggling, and that was what put them over the edge, then they're missing some big chunks here, because that was a nice little bit, the catch in middle eye about the Dunkin' Donuts bag, but he wasn't even there that night to pick them up. Oh wait, no, he was, but then he was on the video. Oh no, then he wasn't. So I think if somebody was like, I'm so close to making a decision. Oh yeah, the Dunkin' thing, that would do it for me. I don't know. I think there's so much bigger, so many bigger things out there to convince you one way or the other.
Yeah. Here in New York City, Dunkin's not even open till 11 o'clock. I mean, we're in the Big Apple.
I'll tell you what is though, Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme is really?
Yeah, out west.
One?
Yeah, Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme out west, but not over here. I mean, I go by what I can get on DoorDash. I've been a DoorDash doll ever since COVID. Really, getting things. Thank goodness, quite frankly, is when we have all this to do and staying here, it's hard to get out and actually run your life. Your law practice, your house practice, you're playing with Tubi. Tubi's
mad at you.
Tubi, he's mad at me. I promised Tubi that I will play with him all weekend this weekend. I will work and I will play.
Good, then I'm sure the weather's going to be horrible again.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing. We've had this series of just little sloppy,
storms, right?
Snow and sleet, and it's that time of year.
Yeah, but not too bad. I mean, we haven't had that gigantic big snowstorm.
No.
Yeah, Godfather trilogy is memorable. Michael, say somebody remembers it. The Valachi papers.
But number 2 was definitely the best. I'm sorry, it was definitely the best.
Okay. I'm going to sneeze now.
Just checking my Dunkin's down the street, open 24 hours, so I'm gonna have to go down there.
Yeah, but that's because you're on the East Coast and you can drive. But in COVID, things were not. Dunkin's were not open 24 hours in COVID. They just weren't.
It's funny. There are so many of them. There are so many. Anyway.
I
feel like a crueler.
It's what is the biggest fast food store in the world?
Biggest fast food store? You mean like McDonald's?
Well, it's not McDonald's.
Fast food.
Subway.
Oh, Subway. Yeah. They had a big problem with their franchisees, because there was no exclusivity. And so you could put one up on, here's one in your corner, and 6 months later, they could put one up across the street. You had no exclusivity, and so the franchisees were fuming. Yeah. I mean, what are you getting? What are you buying if you're competing with somebody right across the street?
Well, Warner and Amber, we're not even code. Just did a quick Google search. Dunkin' Donuts, Los Angeles, 7 p.m. closing, except Sundays close at 6. That's why Cat Not Williams said there was no Dunkin' open at 11 o'clock at night. Remember, this happened around 8 o'clock, 8:10 to 8:20, 8:40.
9. Yeah. Well, he was supposed to have gone to the scene at 11:11. Well, if he didn't go there to get the bullet casings till 11:11, well, he wouldn't have been to Dunkin' until midnight.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, or somewhere between that period of time and midnight. Yes.
Yeah. Not to mention the bag wasn't even like their kind of bag, and you could get one out of the trash if you needed one. I don't even know why he would make up that part of the story. What's the point?
I don't know.
You just have them in a plastic bag you had at home. I mean, why make that up? I don't get it.
And Crystal Allen says they don't have that many Dunkin' Donuts in LA, very few.
That's true. So, they're kind of late to the show.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, as I said, that jury's made from people not from New York, but from California, and they're going to know. So he could object all he wants, and this was in front of the jury, wasn't it?
Which part?
Objecting to Dunkin's that there was no evidence that the Dunkin'.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because what he objected to was, I think the statement Joe made was that. No Dunkin' Donuts stayed open that late, and there was certainly no evidence of that, and so it was sustained.
That one was sustained, but you know what? The jurors know. The jurors know.
How common is this kind of interruption during a closing? And I think Kay Schmidt means Lewin, Lewin factor. I think it's not uncommon. It's the frequency that is out of control. It's not just it happening or not. Right. But so many, that's weird. It's just unusual. And it does. Somebody else mentioned, the jury gets annoyed. They do get annoyed,
They want to hear, it was, and they, they're into this. They want to hear it. And, actually this is great for if you talk about strategy. Tacopina gets to finish today, start again tomorrow when they come back, so that's the last thing they're hearing today, the first thing tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not bad to bookend that. It's not bad.
That, right. And even if he goes 10 minutes or 5 minutes, it's not bad.
And I think, I'd like to see Joe think this over tonight and really come up with a real pithy 30 minutes and get the hell out of there. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I think that's I have a feeling that's maybe what he's gonna do his last 10 minutes or whatever, and then Lewin has to come up, and he's gotta and really the pressure's gonna be on him to finish before lunch, right? To be finished before 12 o'clock.
You would
You
think.
know?
You would think. But he's on his own clock, and he is so important and so arrogant. Who knows what he's gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna actually retweet Cat Not Williams right again. All right, I'm gonna retweet her.
Well, you retweet away.
Well, you do that,
Crystal
bro.
Allen. I'm so happy to have found this JSTV. Actually, I think it says JSTY, but we may go with JSTY at some point. I have a newfound family who understands my interest in law. Well, Crystal Allen, good to have you along for the ride. Happens to be a bumpy ride today with this particular case. This is one of these weird cases where the personalities override the real nature of the case, the simplicity of the case, because they're just wild. The characters are just bigger than life,
They are much bigger than life. But actually, A$AP Rocky's been pretty quiet in the court. He sits there. He's and I think Tacopina addressed it. He just said,
Yeah, he had one objection. That was it.
But I think he said that at the beginning. He said, you sit there, you try to maintain your dignity when you're falsely accused. Right? He said, maintain your dignity. He said, Mr. Well, my client is what he said. My client has maintained his dignities here. He's maintained his innocence from day one, and the jury is seeing him there, sitting maintaining dignity and all. So I think, and he opened with that. That was part of his first 10 minutes, I believe, of his opening. What do you all think about that?
I wonder if after the break that the family left, that Riri and the kids left. Do you know? Have anybody heard one way or the other? I only say that because a 9-month-old and a 2-year-old out and about in that setting at that point, they're going to be cranky.
Yeah.
And we already heard, earlier on today, we definitely heard, and it wasn't Lewin crying at that time. It was actually the baby. And I have. Wait
a second. Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't Lewin. Why is that? Because I mean, we know Lewin, right? We know what he sounds like. It's very easy to see what he sounds like when he pipes up. Sound like that. Oh, cute little baby. I'm sorry. I think I've defamed the baby.
Anyhow, I just tweeted that. I'm sure Justice Served TV will retweet me, but he got it in because you all know. And I was actually doing some answers to questions, as we were going along with everybody. But okay, Loco said the kids left early in the day and they will be 2 and 3.
There you go. Yeah. Yep. No, they're going to be 1 and 3. Sorry. 1 is 9 months old. Birthday's coming up in August.
You sure about that?
According to my,
okay. All right.
My sources.
I have to trust your sources.
Yeah. And the other one's birthday is May 13th and will be 3 years old then.
And that's your birthday.
TP. Mine's close. Mine's close.
Are you close to Tubi then? You're close to Tubi's birthday?
When's Tubi's?
May 15th.
No, I'm before that.
Okay. So now we know you're not the 13th. You're not the 13th.
Yeah, only what 9 or 10 days left. I'm still puzzled as what this is.
Wait. If you're not the 5th, if you're 15th, you're past the 14th then.
No. My daughter's is the 14th. TP. I'm still puzzled as to why Relly went back to the scene an hour, a half or so later. Why did he feel the need to go back and look for anything? This is not CSI Miami. Oh, he forgot. That's what police are for. Yeah, well, I called him Inspector Gadget because he went back and somehow found everything that 7 cops with their searchlights could not find. So
yeah, and he said, what did he say? He said there were four shots, but
when he was ragging on, I think he was talking to Wally at the time, and he said 5 shots more than once. He said, "Guy's gonna shoot at me 5 times," and so a little embellishment in that particular storytelling.
Just in that one, but they're going at him pretty hard, right? By the way, who called Joe A$AP Taco? I think was that you?
ASAP Taco Micah. Yeah, it was Micah.
That's pretty. That's pretty fun.
He's part of the collective.
Yeah, he's part of the. You know. Oh my goodness gracious! You know, it's. What can I say? What can I say?
Yeah.
I think I have kind of been saying it all.
Is Melissa?
Right?
This may be a rhetorical question. It shouldn't matter what the judge believes. He is there to call balls and strikes. Why is the prosecutor telling the judge what to do?
Oh, that's a good one. Go ahead, Michael. You answer.
That's the Lewin factor. He shouldn't be, and the judge should be much more heavy-handed with him than he has been. We know there's a tote board running, and we know that after this, I don't know if it'll be in an open hearing or it'll be in chambers. I have a feeling it'll be in chambers, where the court will say, look, here's how many times you've been dinged. Here's how much I'm charging you per ding. It could be up to $1,500 under the code 1074. And he may just say, it's $5,000. Pay up. We'll give you a round number here. But to answer that question, he shouldn't be. He shouldn't be doing that, Melissa. He shouldn't. But Lewin knows all, sees all, is all.
Well, that's part of the problem, and it's I don't know. I just don't know. Now, he obviously took offense at being called a suborner of perjury. I guess he took offense at that.
Yes, he has a line.
Yes, he has a line. Really, it's just like, I don't know. Really, it's just I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Is Relly in the courtroom? Does anyone know? Did they bring him back? Did they bring Relly back? Does anyone know? I assume they didn't.
Anybody have that intel?
Yeah. Anyone have that intel? No one has that intel. Okay. All right. Whatever. All right. Let's see what else we got going here. All right. Lewin better have.
Missy is fixated on JT.
I can tell you how tall he is because I've had pictures next to him. He's probably around 5'11"ish. I've taken pictures.
Interestingly, he's also 5'11" at the shoulders wide. So
yeah, about 5'11"ish. I mean, you notice Joe when you see him because he's a person. He's a big personality too.
Yes. Yep.
And
he walks very loudly. He just everything about. He's just loud. You know what I mean?
Is that?
And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that's he's he makes a statement.
What was the poll results about whether or not the prosecution was suborning perjury, Missy? What were they? Did we post them on Justice Serve TV? Okay, Michael, can you read that?
Oh my gosh, what is this? An eye test? Oh, there we go. 64% yes, 21 I don't know, 13 no. That's do you believe the prosecution team suborned perjury? So 64% said yes.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So I guess we're going to tweet that out of our Justice Serve TV account. That's kind of an interesting poll too. We ran a poll before. 89% of you like JT's closing. They really like So that's there's Tubi. Tubi is way in. He says, "Hey, wait a second. I can't answer. I mean, I'm having trouble here because my mother's has been not playing with me all day, right?"
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. This is when Domino will go and find like a sock and just take it, run in the other room, just doesn't really want it, doesn't care, but knows it'll get attention.
Yeah. So I'd say he's about 5'11". His son, I believe, is on X Twitter.
Yeah, I just saw another post recently.
Yeah, I think his son is on X Twitter. Yeah. Probably best to ask him. I can just give you my guesstimate of having been with Joe's number. He's a gentleman person. I think that this case, quite frankly, if I had to say, has been good for him. I mean, he has shown how he can take on different personalities in the courtroom. He is prepared beyond belief, right? The jury, I think he said a couple of things. There was a funny, I don't know if you saw it, Michael, when they came back from lunch and he had to start and Lewin was, or as our chat has named it, Lewiner, was saying about the and all that kind of, they were going through that again. And the judge said, well, just don't mention the prosecution team or a lawyer in the same sentence as you're mentioning perjury or something. And Joe, as he's walking back to the lectern, says, well, that should shorten my closing a lot.
Yeah, I commented that on our little chat here.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, that was before the jury came back in, so it was all right. You know, he was kind of playing to the gallery a little bit.
Yeah.